What's the scariest conspiracy theory you've ever heard? Plants cultivate humans for the carbon dioxide. Human beings were invented by water as a device for transporting itself from one place to another. Those Facebook memes of posting a current selfie and a photo of you taken 10 years ago is to program facial recognition software. That there is no such thing as food-safe plastic. From what I've read, I am very much not an expert. There is so much we don't know about how the chemical makeup of different plastics affect the human body. I guess I kind of lean towards the, yeah, it's probably killing us all, but I can't afford to do better lifestyle. The other side of this is that plastics dramatically improved food safety. They enable us to transport farther, store longer, and reduce diseases caused by handling so much so that it's probable even with their problems, they're still saving more lives than they're taking. Dark forest theory. We can't find any evidence of extraterrestrial life because the smart ones are hiding, and the dumb ones have been killed by something else. The current social wars were designed to distract us from the trillions of dollars that went from the middle class to the wealthy. It will continue to happen while people fight over body parts and bedroom activities. In the past 4 years, the billionaire class in America has increased their wealth by 88%. Some 700 people hold a combined wealth over $5.5 trillion. The saddest part about this shit is how few people can even comprehend how big of a number that is. NASA was behind the moon landings. I work with elementary schoolers. A 5th grader asked me if I thought we went to the moon. I said, "What do you mean?" And he told me to Google the boot prints. Apparently there's a photo of boot prints on the moon, and they don't match the suit on display in the Smithsonian or something. He's right. The boots at the Smithsonian from Apollo 11 don't match the photos, because the overboots they wore over the spacesuit's boots were left behind on the moon. That or Ask Reddit is mostly a data scraping tool used by marketing companies to farm data from the masses based on what company X is selling. I.e., Disney wants to know what movie to remake next, so let's pay someone to ask about favorite Disney films from their childhood and log the responses. Actually, I just made that up, but I have no doubt it's happening. The food we have been eating in the United States is a huge part of the mental illness going on today. I'm more inclined to blame lifestyle than food. Something like 70% of the country gets less than the bare minimum amount of physical activity, and probably spends very little time outside. We didn't evolve to sit on our asses under artificial light all day. There's also the fact that most people don't have a sense of community anymore because neoliberalism has atomized us into individual consumers and turned most third places into user pay models that try and get people in and out as quickly as possible. A small one. Samsung announced that the Galaxy Watch 4 would include a non-invasive continuous glucose monitor, which would allow you to monitor your blood sugar at any time while you wear it, for as long as you own it. A month before the 4 was released, that feature quietly disappeared from all of the marketing, without explanation, and now, years later, is nowhere to be found. I believe Abbott Laboratories, makers of the Freestyle Light Glucometer and the Freestyle Libre continuous glucose monitor systems, panicked, fearing that a non-expiring, non-invasive glucose monitor would be hugely popular among diabetics and devastate their death grip on the market, paid a huge bribe to Samsung to drop the whole thing. Or the Samsung marketing people advertised the feature before the engineers realized it would never work right. That the public school system sucks because it was deliberately designed to fail the kids, forcing them to shuffle off to the factories once their dreams are crushed at graduation. That the South Korean prosecution office bullies people into dying of their own free will. Don't know if it's the scariest, but considering the current president openly admitted this, I don't know. And if they don't succeed, then they can always drown over 300 children in the sea as they did with Sewell's ship. I just want to mention about it because I want it to be mentioned. Korean president covered everything and prevented professional rescuers from saving children because it would show how incompetent those in charge are. In short, during the accident, the captain of Sewell's ship escaped from the ship very quickly and left children to die. Everyone who came to rescue couldn't do anything. Few helicopters saved few people, that's all. Then third-party rescuer volunteered, came with his own equipment, which was a lot better than what government sent, with his people who were experienced professionals. But Coast Guard stopped them and prevented them from saving children. Later, the government lied about the person who volunteered to help. They tried to cover up their failure. Here's a new one for you. Spontaneous life is actually extremely common in the universe. We talk about the primordial ooze where the first protons formed into a cell and all that. But this theory states that life actually spontaneously arises on a microscopic level constantly. Well, constantly on a universal time scale, at least. Not all of it is carbon-based. And in fact, life has formed in many different ways that we don't recognize as true life. However, there's one critical thing that acts as a gateway: reproduction. Almost all life that is spontaneously created lives a short time and dies without reproducing. On our world, there have been 2 instances of spontaneous life that were able to reproduce. 1. The precursor that led to all life as we know it on Earth over millions and millions of years. 2. Viruses. I think this is true because we aren't made of some rare elements that no one can explain. We're composed of elements that are plentiful in the universe. There has to be life out there. There has to be worlds with civilizations who came and went, along with their planets, millions of years ago, and their stories are forever lost to the universe. There will come a time in the future when we were a planet that existed billions of years ago with new planets and life forms who will never know we ever existed. What's scarier than shadow governments and deep states pulling all the levers? That there aren't. It's nobody. We're all just a bunch of apes with opposable thumbs, and nobody knows what we're doing. This is what it has felt like as I've grown in my career. Bigger and more consequential orgs I've worked for, still no one who knows what's going on. I hate the idea that the existence of the uncanny valley implies the existence of something that looks human but wasn't quite human, and we needed to fear it. I've heard it had something to do with dead bodies, forget the details, but yeah, the idea that there was some sort of vaguely human-looking creature that was dangerous a predator is more fun. Yeah, it's to stop us from poking around at dead bodies that may transmit disease. Same reason we find the smell of rot disgusting. My theory on this is it has to do with death. If you ever see the way a person's face changes after they die and all of their muscles relax, uncanny, is exactly the feeling. If there's any worse smell in the world than a decaying body, I've yet to come across it. I think the fact that we react so strongly to that smell is also a function of evolution. The one about Bitcoin being invented by an AI, which is now accumulating a huge amount of computer power by greedy humans building big Bitcoin mining centers to make money, but all they are doing is building an ultra-resilient network for the AI to run on. The AI also has a huge amount of wealth to now pay anonymously to humans to do its dirty work in the physical world. A superintelligence at some point wants more computation and robot arms, given robot arms aren't all that great. Money is the next best thing, as humans will do anything for bigger numbers on their bank account. For me, it's truly terrifying. There is no witness protection program. The government prepares people to cut all ties and then just kills them instead of relocating. The mattress mafia. Mattress money laundering is the only insane conspiracy I fully believe in. Why are there so many stores? For me, it's the sports memorabilia stores and malls. Always empty, never out of business, and in every mall. It's not particularly scary, but go read a bit of Commander David Fravor's statement about his F-18 crew that were called to check on an object they had been tracking on the USS Nimitz for weeks in the early 2000s. It was dropping from 80,000 foot to 20,000 in mere seconds. When they managed to begin tracking it, the radar had trouble picking it up. There was no infrared heat signature for the propulsion of the craft as it hovered over the ocean, and it was pulling G's no pilot could make without a full blackout. It disappeared from view of both planes and popped back onto the radar 60 miles away, in less than a minute. His crew also took a different video years later of a similar object. Really makes you wonder. There's a full statement of the hearing online. There's plastic in our blood and every piece of tech listens to us, and nobody really cares. That all this doomer. Humanity is the real virus monster. We are destroying our planet like a cancer. Type of thinking was made up and spread by corporations to make regular people feel equally culpable for climate change. I'm not killing the planet, and you aren't either. Something like 70% of all global emissions are caused by 100 corporations. They are killing the planet, but no one will go after them because humanity was a mistake, and that cynicism is what will actually do us in. That aliens exist, but we're the only dummies being loud because there's a bigger, scarier race of aliens out there that all the other races are hiding from. What's the scariest conspiracy theory you've ever heard? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.